It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
And I'm Tim Coleman.
Tim Coleman!
I'm the Tim Coleman. You referred to me once as the Tim Coleman, so that's become my name now.
It has to be.
Tim Coleman.
It has to be. We'll explain all of that and how Kathryn Frady has now finally been vindicated and justified because she's been saying, when are you having Tim Coleman on the show? You said you were going to have Tim Coleman on the show.
Kathryn.
So, yes, all you seem to have is these attractive women, and then what about Tim Coleman? So here he is, Frady, filling in for you. We are delighted that you are watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, whether you're listening to us on any of the audio podcast platforms like Audible or Google or Apple Podcasts, iHeart, pick a thing, Spotify, Stitcher. I mean, I can name on and on and on, but you get the idea. Yes. Find us on your podcast app and subscribe that way if you want to just listen as you do things. But if you're a YouTuber, like we want, please do help us subscribe. We made it past the 666 threshold.
Oh yes, I saw that episode where you said someone is going to
one of the Einstein guys
is going to drop out just so it falls back to 666.
But we burned him because what happened was we got up to 672 and then he unsubscribed. It dropped us back to 671, and now we've gotten a few more, so we're up to 675, and we're starting to make some progress.
Good.
I talked to some people. So, by the way, you can smash that button for notifications when you'd like to do that on YouTube, so you know when we put out a new episode. I've been talking to people. I was at the Big Barbecue Bash in Maryville, and I was speaking with their social media person and talking about how important Instagram Reels are. So I'm trying to make Instagram Reels. So do something reel-worthy during the show, and we'll make it a reel, because every time I post a reel, we seem to gain a subscriber. So I'm happy about that. Okay. Last thing is our merch store. We've got the mugs. You've seen the mugs, and you noticed
they're double-sided.
I know. I sprung for the good mugs.
Get the good ones.
Well, I had. I don't know if
and that's good.
You might not remember this, but there was an earlier version of this podcast where I had single-sided mugs.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So now I've got double-sided mugs.
Double-sided.
Yes.
Good.
Of course, the beach towel. I love showing off the beach towel. And
I know. I've seen this in your podcast, and this I'm
so
impressed
soft.
with this.
So soft. It's it's soft as we say on the show, isn't it?
Yes.
Look at that, Frank and Friends. It's just lovely. So I think you were probably invited yourself back over for a swim, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Which is fine. I was on Living East Tennessee with Tala Shatara back on June 30th, and she said she wanted to come over with all of her crew. Like, well, people say that, but they never, they don't actually do it.
Well, and I say things sometimes, and I just don't have the time to do it.
Well, my next door neighbor, Nancy, took care of the pool while we were in Virginia for a few days, and she said it really helped her son's back. He's a grown man, but he cleaned the pool, and then he floated for a little bit, and it helped him stand up, just whatever sore muscle thing he had.
Yeah.
So I said, well, you should go in again. She's like, well, when are you not home? So I sent her a text. I said, I'm going over to Channel 6. I'll be gone for 2 hours. And then by the time I get to Channel 6, I get a text back, thanks, he's in the water. Like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. As, you could do it whenever.
Well, I don't have a pool at my house, but I do have a hot tub that my neighbor gave me. He had a kind of a rental house. It was a vacation home.
Yeah.
And he would rent it out every once in a while, so they had to have a hot tub. And after he decided they were going to move there, him and his wife, neither one used the hot tub.
And it's maintenance.
And I would go down and take care of it for him.
Okay.
I would, put chemicals in and clean it and do this and that. And
how do you move a hot tub?
Well,
I guess you empty it. I didn't think of it. Well, I was envisioning
the way that we did it. It was on his side porch when there's railings, and it would not fit through there. We emptied it, but still, it's very heavy.
Yeah.
It took four of us to move it. We ended up having to take off the rail off his porch.
That makes sense.
Moved and backed the truck right up there, and then of course it slid right onto the back of the truck.
Okay.
And then we had to nail the rail back into place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense to me. I think my back neighbor, he was building his deck and created a space for his new hot tub while he was building the deck, and then you can just finish the deck after you get the tub in place. It makes sense.
Yes.
Interesting.
And I love a hot tub because in the middle of winter when it snows, there's just something about the snow on the ground and the cold outside and then the warmth of the hot tub.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I just was hoping that you somehow put wheels on it and you and
Hot tub
and all
on
of the
wheels.
Sweet Fanny Adams
There's an
gang
idea.
would just drive it down the road full of water, maybe in the 4th of July parade or something.
We could do that, yeah.
Nice. Well, let's explain Tim Coleman.
Okay.
You may have seen him if you're a loyal viewer. You've seen Tim Coleman on this show before.
Aha.
That's right. When we did the Oktoberfest episode from Ober Gatlinburg,
Yes.
you and Laura Schoonemaker were the entertainment that day, and did a fine job. And then you sat. Well, first of all, Ober Gatlinburg was so generous. They brought over samples of foods
Yes.
for us to try on camera. Which, by the way, if you have a restaurant, that's the way to do it. Don't ask me what I want. You don't want that to know that. I'm too particular. Just bring what you're featuring and lay it out there. And on camera, I'll play along.
Well, you say they're generous. They are so generous to the people that work there. Like,
Really?
They rolled out the royal carpet for us.
Oh, that's good.
We got food and all the attractions up there because we only did like a 45-minute show.
Yeah.
And then we would have like an hour or 15 minutes before the next show.
So you could go.
And then we could do all the attractions we did, and
They've got ice skating. They've got ice bumper cars. They've got the
coaster.
other.
They last year they had a.
The lift
I didn't
up
get to do this, but
what?
they had a hiking trail that they've put up
Nice.
into there, and they have a guide who takes you. Of course,
Goals for
I
this
wasn't
year.
sure how long the hike was gonna be, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But people that have done it, they rave about it. So.
Well, we only touched the tip of the Ober Mountain, I guess. That's not an iceberg, the mountain. But we could certainly go back and do another episode there. In fact, we really could literally go 4 times a year just to get the changes of seasons.
I'm not sure if we're going to be there this year or not. I don't know if you've heard the news.
No.
Ober Gatlinburg has sold.
Oh my gosh! So I interviewed the guy who owned it, right?
Ken, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. So what have they done?
It was bought by Ole Smoky Moonshine, I believe. The people that own Ole Smoky Moonshine.
This is fascinating to me because
Yes.
the moonshine companies are getting into it.
Well, they also bought the campground down near me, which is one of my favorite.
Ole Smoky
campgrounds.
did.
Yes.
Which one was that? The
Greenbrier.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because meanwhile, their competition, Tennessee Shine Company, has been buying up stuff.
Yes.
They bought the mountain coaster that is now known as Moonshine Mountain Coaster. So Ole Smoky owns Ober?
Yes.
What are they're gonna have to call it?
Well, see, I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they're gonna, because we've been doing it for 11 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've lost track, but I'm not sure if they're gonna ask us to come back or if they're gonna
Bring in
have
their own
entertainment.
Well, because they do have a tradition of booking entertainment at their venues,
Yes.
at the island
Yes.
and in downtown Gatlinburg. Oh, wow. That's a twist,
see.
huh?
We shall see.
Well, they're going to have to. They need Oktoberfest moonshine. I mean,
They normally
I don't know how.
get a hold of us like late July, early August.
Okay.
So haven't
Well,
heard
either
anything
way,
yet, but we'll see.
Put in a
It's
good
coming
word
up.
for Frank and Friends, so if we can come back
absolutely.
and do a
Yeah,
show.
If I'm there, you're invited to come by.
All right. Well, also, I know you as an actor. I mean, you had multiple careers. You were telling me as you got here.
Yes.
Well, when I used to be in real estate, when I used to foreclose homes, I did one just like this. He's looking around going, did I do a foreclosure at this house?
Did I foreclose on this?
It's possible. It's certainly
I've done
possible.
so many in Knoxville.
Yeah.
I mean, and the foreclosure things are funny because I do not have the heart to throw people out of their homes. It's like, that's not really my job.
You're a kind man.
My job was to go in after the people had left the home and get the house, what we call real estate ready. Clean it up. If they've left anything, get rid of it. And people leave some strange things in their houses.
Well, when you're leaving under sudden circumstances, it's almost like you just dropped dead.
Yes.
Exactly. And anyone who's cleaned out the house of a dead person, they were not clearly planning on leaving that soon because there's all of this stuff.
Well, and we had to get rid of all that stuff. And the neighbors loved us because we would put everything out on the lawn with a sign that said, "Help yourself."
For free.
Yeah, for free. Well, someone even took my sign.
No,
I didn't even take my sign.
Yeah, except for even an asterisk. Yeah. Help yourself, but not this sign. Everything but the sign. Leave the sign.
We did the house way out in the middle. You had to go down this gravel road, turn down another dirt road, and this house was, way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it had tons of, I don't want to call them antique things, but remember in the World's Fair when they had the bottles, the Pepsi bottles?
Sure.
Okay, and the Pepsis were still in them with the lids on them.
Oh, wow.
And I thought somebody had collected these, and they're probably might be valuable to somebody.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a
But
guy.
not to us. I mean, we
Right,
had to
right.
get rid of everything. So we would put them out there with a broken toy box, a kid's toy box.
There's a
and
guy-
I thought nobody is ever going to take that. We came back the next day, everything was gone.
Well,
Everything.
I mean, you know what? If you're handy, you could take that toy box and think, you know what? I might be able to take this apart and build a different toy box out of what's here.
Exactly. And I'd rather see that happen
Yeah.
than take everything to the dump and throw it away.
But the World's Fair memorabilia, the guy who really in Knoxville is the king of collecting that, is this dude who owns Sweet Peas BBQ. I think his name is Chris something, but he was in the band Gran Torino. I learned.
Okay.
And he just really got into it, and I think he even owns the logo. He bought the legal rights to the logo of the 1982 World's Fair. So that's why when you go to Sweet Peas, they've got so much stuff. And then he ended up selling off a bunch of it recently because he gotten to the point where it was too much stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they
easy
have
to do.
it in the museum downtown. So
Yep.
I wasn't here for the World's Fair. You must have been. Or were you? I don't know.
Yes.
I mean,
I was here for the World's Fair.
I know you're old enough to
Yeah.
have been here. My question is, how long have you lived in Tennessee?
Oh, well, actually, I am a descendant of one of my grandparents, their last name was Pittman, as in Pittman Center.
Yeah.
And I found out that that was back when it was White Oak Flats. The Pittmans came here, and I don't know if he started the first school or the first hospital, something.
That's why the high school is called Gatlinburg Pittman High School.
Right.
And Pittman Center is an area between, I guess, sort of behind Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg is one way to describe it.
Right.
You know, that's my favorite shortcut, don't tell anyone, to get to Gatlinburg is to take Pittman Center Road and come out through the glades.
Well, you can come right near my house.
I think so.
I live.
I've been looking. I
Pittman
just
Center Road
didn't see the hot
splits
tub.
at one part. You know, it splits and it goes around this way. And if you know, have you been by the covered bridge down there?
I've been by the Bison. There's a Bison over
Emirates
there.
Cove Road. Oh, you've been by the Bison. If you were to take a rock and slingshot it over the hill, you would be at my house.
Guess what I'm doing in the near future. But when I say I know you as an actor, you know, I first met you through the Gatlinburg Improv Fest and through the Sweet Fanny Adams Theater.
I miss the Improv Fest. Those were some of the best times.
Aaron Cody Campbell is trying to revive that spirit in Oak Ridge with the Secret City Improv Festival. And he did one last year despite the pandemic. He powered through. And I performed in it, and it was and a lot of people came to it.
I'm going to have to give it a try.
And it was, I'd say, worth it.
Aaron was part of our group at one time. You know, he was...
Aaron Cody Campbell.
Yes, he when
they did a...
James and Christian and I had the improv group, and
Fantastic.
I can't remember the name of our...
It was something about the suspenders.
Suspenders of Disbelief.
That's right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we all wore suspenders. And we changed our name a couple of times.
Yes, I remember a few. That's the one that comes to mind first. But,
yes.
So that's September 30th, October 1st, Grove Theater, Oak Ridge. So come on out and see it.
Exactly. Because that was, we had so much fun. You met so many people.
Yeah.
And there's so much talent. I've never been in a room with so much talent in my entire life.
Well,
I mean, and some of these people were like improv superstars. Like they would teach the classes, and then of course you'd see them perform, and they're just amazing people. Like Tara from Atlanta, and Ian,
Tara Oaks,
and I don't even know if you remember the event. We were all on. All the improvisers were on stage.
It's like a jam session where you mix and match.
Right.
It's like an all-star game. So imagine all these people from different teams are now playing together in the same game.
And the game was breakfast cereals. We had to name a breakfast, and nobody could name it twice. And he would point to you, and if you hesitated or named a breakfast cereal that was already named, then you were eliminated. I know my breakfast cereals. I mean,
you're like Jerry Seinfeld, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I can name breakfast cereals for days. And so, of course, I was one of the 3 finalists. It was me, Ian, and Tara.
Oh, wow. You and two professionals. I mean,
well, I know
pros.
it, and I was so intimidated. I can tell you this now, but it's like,
imagine how they
I am
felt.
up here with improvisational royalty. And
you think you were intimidated. Imagine how those two felt, thinking they're going to be taken down by a noob.
Well, and the clip is on YouTube. Somebody put it on YouTube.
I want to see that.
And it was where we just improvised this song, and it was amazing. You would have thought we'd been rehearsing that for weeks.
I did. I have seen that clip.
It was, and then when we finished, but they both of them are such great improvisers that they just kind of it lifted me into the, it's like you just go with the flow.
And they're from the Atlanta scene.
I know.
And we would get people from the Orlando scene, which is huge.
Yes.
Even a few Chicago troops.
Detroit, there was a group from Detroit.
So that's, anyway, the Secret City one, he's got some of the Orlando guys come up, and he's got people coming in from the Midwest, new people that we've never
I've got to get out there and see
met
that.
before, and that's good. So, and then the high school troops that are surprisingly good from Oak Ridge, they were stellar. And this coming year, he's also going to have Bearden and Farragut, and they're going to have some kind of, I don't know what they're doing, but some kind of special intensives. So, all right, so
yes,
acting.
Definitely going to try that.
So then I roped you into being in the Front Page Follies, and thank goodness I did, because
that was
you
so
helped.
Much fun.
You lift. You have a.
Fun.
See, the Front Page Follies was a bunch of allegedly non-professionals, like newspaper reporters, and they would make jokes about how they didn't know how to dance, they didn't know how to sing, and they would just go and show and kind of embrace the fact that they were terrible. Well, when I became in charge of it, I'm like, well, I'm terrible. So I will surround myself. Like the director, when I did my first practice, he's like, "Do you know anybody else? Do you have any friends who could sing?" I said, "Well, my wife would be."
Oh, your wife
interested.
has an excellent voice.
He said, "Well, can she come?" I said, "No, she's out of town at New York. They're singing at Carnegie Hall this week." He said, "We'll wait." Wait, Carnegie Hall? Wait, she can miss a couple of rehearsals. Just get her in the show when she goes back. So I brought in deliberately ringers. So my wife, you, and a few others, because you were available. You were on, I guess you had retired.
I had retired, yes.
From Sweet Fanny Adams Theater.
But I retired for just that 1 year, and then I went back and finished out the rest of the run.
But I took advantage of that.
Yes, and I'm glad you did, because I met some amazing people, and some incredible people.
But you also showed us the tricks of the trade. That, the stuff, I mean, you have a way of having to learn the material, and there's no shame in bringing a prop that has the lyrics hidden on the other side of the prop. Genius stuff that none of us would have done, but it's so common.
Well, sometimes we would rehearse a show and only have 10 days to get it up and running. Yeah, and if you, the theater's been totally remodeled now, but if you walk around the back of the proscenium, you would see notes that we had placed, or things that we had written on the...
little prompts,
little just to
reminders.
remind us.
I get that. I mean, I've done enough shows where I had to do one, and I know we should be talking about your show. Oh my gosh, we're 16 minutes, 17 minutes into the show, and we're just getting warmed up. But I love show business. So I had a bit for the Oak Ridge Ballet where they were doing a kind of a knockoff of Into the Woods.
Okay.
So they didn't have the rights to do the actual show, plus it's a ballet. So there's no talking in the ballet. But you can't make head nor tail of what's going on without someone explaining it. So they said, "Frank, you can play somebody's father. We'll dress you up in a suit, and we're going to put you out there as somebody's father. We're going to give you a clip-on microphone, and you're going to explain the story of what's happening or what's going to happen or whatever." They said, "We don't, just go." Those were my instructions. That's what I had.
That's every actor's nightmare.
Yeah.
Get out there and do it.
So I was trying to figure out, how do I memorize? I'm bad at memorization. So I was putting notes on both sides of the stage, depending on where my next entrance was going to come from.
You have to take my class. I teach a memorization class. You have to take my class.
I'll try to remember to take that.
Yeah. Well, when I first took the class, I took it with this girl. We came out and couldn't remember where we parked our car.
I don't even know if you're joking or serious.
No, it's a good class.
Are you serious?
Yeah. We forgot where we parked. But of course, that was before we took the class.
I don't know if you're serious.
Our memory was so sharp.
I don't know if you're serious. Do you teach the class?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's real.
I was going to do that.
This is a real thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I teach the class.
I'm
guaranteed to improve your memory by at least 300%.
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. Because I'm afraid of memorization. We talked about this last week with Laura Beth Wells, and she's afraid of improv. So I was trying to figure out, how am I going to do this bit and I decided I was going to flip it. Rather than come out there and tell the audience what is about to happen, which means I'd have to memorize what is about to happen, I learned the story well enough and flipped it around so that I became, in effect, the play-by-play sports announcer.
Okay.
So as the action is unfolding, I would come out and say, "Did you see what just happened? The witch did this, this, and this." And it worked out much better because I would just be saying what I'm seeing, and that was fine, and it worked out better with everybody. As long as I didn't step in the way of the ballerinas, we got it all worked out. My wife's in the audience. We do the show 3 times, and this person be sitting next to her, behind her, says, "That guy, I don't know, how does he do that? I mean, how does he lip sync to the recording like that so perfectly?" because they thought, and my wife's saying, no, that's his actual voice. That's what he actually sounds like when he's talking on stage.
Yeah, you got that good radio voice.
I better take a sip of water so I have that good radio voice.
But you know, you talk about, actors have two nightmares. One is being on stage in their underwear, and the other is
which
being
you've also
shoved
done.
on stage. Yeah, which many times. Being shoved on stage, not knowing what you're doing.
No prep.
You've got to go on. You've got to go on.
Yeah.
And that actually happened to me. I went to see a friend in a dinner theater production of Odd Couple. And I got there, and everyone is in a panic because the guy who played Murray the cop had appendicitis.
Oh,
he
no.
came in to do the show, but then they had to call an ambulance and take him away in an ambulance. And my friend says, Tim Coleman can do it. And I was like, I'm not that familiar with the show.
Yeah.
And the guy says, well, Murray the cop, he's in the card scenes.
Yeah.
We can put a script
Right there in front of your face.
Yeah, one of the secrets we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Put the script right there on the card table, and it wasn't visible. And I was just actually reading the lines.
Yes.
And it worked very well. I mean, it was, it's
an emergency.
Of course, then the guy wasn't back for the rest of the run. So guess who played Murray the cop?
You.
Yeah. And the lady.
No, on the TV Odd Couple, wasn't the guy who played Murray the cop, wasn't he the same guy, like Al Molinaro or something like that, who was on Happy Days and took over the diner?
Yes.
Arnold's Diner.
Arnold's Diner.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's the same guy who was Murray the cop on Happy Days, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for 70s TV trivia for $100. So we're still 20 minutes into the show. We still haven't talked about Bright Star.
Okay.
But we're getting to it.
We're getting there. We're warming up to it.
Because I've seen you in so many productions now.
Yeah.
You've become, I guess, one of those great community actors. Now that Sweet Fanny is gone, you still got the acting bug. You still do it.
Well, I came to I don't know if you ever heard the story how I got into Sweet Fanny Adams. I came to do theater across the street at the Carousel restaurant. The people
I didn't know there was a theater.
Backing up to the dinner theater we were just talking about that I was doing Murray the Cop.
Murray the Cop.
The people that owned that came and saw. Not that production, but the next production we did, which once I got in with that group, I was there. Yeah.
I mean, once you're, especially as a man, there's a shortage of grown men who are available to do community theater. So once you're in, you're in. Yeah.
Well, and they came and they said, "Could you put a show together and come to Gatlinburg?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I put a show together.
And that round restaurant was.
Yes, but unfortunately,
what was it? A carousel?
It's called the Carousel. Yeah, and the
floor.
The floor revolved. But we didn't. We never actually got to do a show there because we can't. I had our show and our actors and our sets and props and and the restaurant had gone under, unfortunately.
Oh.
And
so you know what? That's not news in Gatlinburg because every time you go, some restaurant has closed and some other restaurant or business has opened in that spot. Yeah.
But we ended up on the far end of town, and Don and Pat McPherson, who own Sweet Fanny Adams, came.
Yeah.
And I had to find a place for my actors to live. So
this is before Sweet Fanny existed?
No, before. Well, for me, no, they had already been in existence for 8-9 years.
Okay.
But I saw an ad in the paper for a house, so I went and called, and it was Pat McPherson who answered the phone.
The wife of the
house, and I'm thinking,
the co-creator of Sweet Fanny Adams
Should I tell her that I'm going to be opening a theater across the street from Sweet Fanny's, or how do I? And so I thought she'll find out eventually. So I just told her right out, and she goes, "Oh," and she was so welcoming, and so she goes, "Darling, we cannot have enough theater in this area," and she was just opened her arms to me, and she said, "Anything we can do to help you out."
This is good.
And they came down and saw our production, and we were struggling, because it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And she says, "Why don't you come and audition for us?" And I said, "Okay." And I came down and I thought, because I love that theater. Once you go into Sweet Fanny Adams, there's this magic about it.
It is.
And I fell in love with the theater. I fell in love with it. And I remember I auditioned, and Jim Lovenshire was our musical director. And, he liked what I did. Pat liked what I did. Don looked at me quizzically and he says, "What size dress do you wear?" And I knew then that I was in for a ride. And let me tell you, it was a ride.
They put you in those comical, Milton Berle dress, drag bits so often.
Yes. The school teacher was the classic.
And I joked about you doing the underwear sketch, but that's
the
one.
Paper dance, yes.
It's called the newspaper dance, where these three guys, usually Don or then later his son Chris, you, and whoever the other man in the cast was.
Exactly.
Come out and you do this bit where you're constantly moving.
And one person keeps dropping their paper and ripping their paper and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So
trying to cover up your bits. But you're standing there in just boxer shorts and a tank top. Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, that was my other nightmare, appearing on stage in my underwear, and so now I got paid to do it.
Check that box right off. So you've done other theater shows, and I've seen you around, and now you. What was that? I guess you did one at Flying Anvil Theater. Yeah. Yes. And now Bright Star, and I apologize for taking 25 minutes to get to this, but we had to get caught up.
Yes.
Bright Star is so exciting, and it's written by Steve Martin and Edie Brickell.
Yes. And I thought when I heard
it's got to be a different. You think it's got to be a different Steve Martin, right? It's not going to be the same Steve Martin.
Well, I thought it was going to be Steve Martin wrote this. This has got to be one of those comedies. This is one of those heartfelt shows that you would not expect Steve Martin to write something like this.
Yeah.
But it's just an incredible show, and we have.
Let me see the poster.
We have an incredible cast.
Oh, wow. Look at this. This is the folks at Encore Theatrical, and I'm really excited about Encore Theatrical. I'm trying to hold that a little bit. There's a QR code. I don't know if I can get it on camera or not, but I'll put the link in the description for all this stuff. Bright Star, because they used to do their summer show at Jefferson County High School.
Yes.
And when I saw them do Hunchback of Notre Dame and Mamma Mia and a few others, I was like, especially Hunchback of Notre Dame, that one blew me away with how good it was. They do good shows, and I think I've seen a few. Drove all the way up to Morristown to see maybe Chorus Line?
Chorus Line, yes.
Yes. You would know, because we were in the audience. We saw each other. It happens all the time when we look over across the...
My friend Destiny was in that show. She met the guy that played Sir Robin and married him. They ended up...
Get out of here.
And as a matter of fact, his daughter has just been cast in the production I just wrote it down. They are doing...
Memorization.
It's a kid show. It's
the kid show.
I've got it's written down here. Yeah, it's just been cast. It's the Addams Family. Hello.
Oh yeah. That's good.
So and I'm anxious to see that.
So I've been going to Encore shows for a bit, and now they've purchased in Morristown their own facility, and they're converting it into a theater.
Yes, it's huge, and it has potential for so much. There's going to be meeting rooms and classrooms, and there's a room for costumes and a room for construction.
Wow.
And it's amazing.
They invited me up to do a fundraiser one time. Just was an improv night, really. It was just they wanted me and someone else from anyone else I could gather from Einstein Simplified to come up and just do some improv exercises with the actors from Encore, but it was also really a fundraiser. It was a wine and cheese party. So everyone's sipping their wine and like, I'll get up and try on improv. But we had a blast just raising money so that they could eventually get to this level with Encore Theatrical. So what's the basic... Bright Star is one of those ones where you hear it and I'm like, I know I've heard it before, and I have to remember, wait, is that the Steve Martin one or is that a different one?
No,
because I don't know enough about it.
Definitely Steve Martin one. And when it played on Broadway, it got some Tony nominations.
Nice.
So, but it's a great show. It's one of those shows that I really don't want to tell you the whole plot of the show.
You have to tell me something to get me to go.
Okay, it takes place in Appalachia.
Hey, we also take place in Appalachia.
What a coincidence! And it's the music and the sets and everything are just amazing in this. I mean, every day I go in, to see a production from start to finish. You have this, where you meet people at the read-through.
Yeah, this very bare bones. It's just sitting down and reading the script.
And then as time passes, you get to know these people and engage in conversation with them, and they're amazing people. They have all different aspects of their life. One girl has just auditioned for Rockettes for the Christmas
Radio
show.
City musical.
Yes, and she got it. She made it.
So it is a musical, right?
Yeah,
musical. So it's a bit of I think Frank Rosamund, who's in the cast.
Oh my gosh, him and his son are both so talented. I was talking about the improv that I felt. These people are the same way. They are so talented.
No kidding.
Frank and his son both are in this production.
Well, Frank has got this is so weird. A little Frank Rosamund side note.
Yes.
Is he sent me the note and said, "Hey, I want you to talk about. Would you consider talking about Bright Star on your Frank and Friends show. And I said, well, yeah, plus I'd love to have Tim Coleman come on. I've been talking about having Tim Coleman on as a guest, and he writes back to me, Tim thought you were kidding. Tim did not know you were serious about him coming on as a guest host.
To clarify that, when you were doing the Oktoberfest show, and and I said, Frank, and you asked Kara, you said, Kara, would you like to come and guest host sometime? And I looked at you and I said, that's kind of sexist, Frank, because you're always having women. And then the next thing I know, I get a call, I'm going to be hosting your show.
Well, Frady,
I was kidding.
Frady gave me a talking to because she noticed after she had to go. She's gotten all this opera stuff, so and since COVID, she hadn't been going anywhere. Now she's going everywhere to make up for lost time. And she says to me, "So I noticed that while I was away, you had on this beautiful woman and this beautiful woman and this beautiful woman and this beautiful woman. When are you having Tim Coleman on?"
Yes.
So here you are.
Yeah, here I am.
But Frank Rosamund contacted me, and I was talking over at Channel 6 with Tala Shatara, and they're running this segment on Living East Tennessee, and it's Frank Rosamund with his day job doing a personality test of the two hosts, of Eric Brazil and Tala Shatara. And I said, that's Frank Rosamund. She's like, yeah, so what? I said, well, he used to be the publisher of the News Sentinel. And she's like, no, he didn't. I said, yes. I said, he's the chairman of the Knoxville Opera Board. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He and his son are starring in Bright Star at the Encore Theatrical. She's like, she can't believe it that one guy would do all this stuff. I said, his name is Frank. I mean, he can't help himself.
And it's amazing he gets to do the show with his son.
Yeah, they did.
And they are both so, like I said, they're both so incredibly
very
talented.
Well. Yeah.
Frank has this voice, when
his son's name is Frank too.
When we're doing Jack.
Oh, Jack. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the other son. I guess he has.
No, I could be confused. Don't worry about me. Just keep going. Ignore that part.
But they are both so talented, and this voice during read through was just kind of booming. It's one of those voices that I was like, wow, this is going to be a good show. This is going to be a great production.
Now, who plays Papa Murphy in the show?
That would be me. I make the pizzas. No. That's what someone asked me. Did you make the pizzas? Like, no. It's actually Daddy Murphy.
Daddy Murphy.
My character.
And who plays Mama Murphy? Is Kara Von Vagel,
yes.
Who you and she were co-stars together for years.
Kara and I have been good friends. Yeah, she worked with us at Sweet Fanny Adams Theater, and she's, she'll get involved in a production, and she'll get me involved in that production with her.
She's done multiple Encore Theatrical shows.
Yes.
Including that Mamma Mia that I mentioned earlier, and whatever the most recent one is. She was still performing in that when you started rehearsals for Bright Star.
Yes, and when the cast list came out, and it had our names as we're going to be husband and wife. We get to play husband and wife.
It's like typecasting.
Yes, exactly.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So a great cast, but you still got to tell me a little more about the plot, other than that it's set in Appalachia. And,
all right.
And that your Daddy Murphy.
Yeah, it's one of those heartfelt. I mean, it's one of those you're gonna, like I said, if I talk too much about it, I'll give it away, and I don't want to give it away.
Well, I mean, stop yourself before the first intermission.
It is based on a true story. I will tell you that. And I did some research, and I found out that the man who's actually the don't give it away, Tim. Don't give it away.
One of the main characters.
One of the main characters was actually a war hero. And the thing that he does in this show was amazing. And
I'm going to look it up on Wikipedia anyway.
Of course you are. But I don't want those people to know. The show is so much better because you have this moment in the show. Well, there's actually several moments, but there's this one particular moment when you realize what this show is actually about. It's one of those shows where you think it's going to be about two love stories.
And they trick you.
It all comes together.
Oh, that's Steve Martin. That's Steve Martin. He's a trickster.
When I first read it, I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh.
They all move into an apartment and someone gets murdered. The only murder in the building.
Exactly.
No, that's not it.
No, that's not it.
That's it. They travel to ancient Egypt and dig up the remains of King Tut.
Well, Steve Martin plays the banjo, so that influence carries over into this because it's kind of. And by the way, I don't know if we mentioned, but the first night, July 8th, is going to be a dinner. They're going to have a dinner.
So that's Thursday.
Friday.
Oh, July 8th is Friday. July 9th.
Yes.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this weekend, and then
8th, 9th,
Friday, Saturday,
8th,
Sunday.
9th, and 10th, and then
The next weekend
15th,
is
16th,
Friday the
17th.
15th, Saturday the 16th, Sunday the 17th.
Right.
Okay.
Sundays are 2:30 production. The rest are 7:30, except for the dinner theater.
So-
That one's a little bit earlier, but it's
sounds good.
bluegrass and barbecue. Is what
Friday night, bluegrass and barbecue. Is it right there at the location?
It's going to be right there in the theater. Yes, there's
Okay.
tables right there, and yeah.
And then do you move over to the theater space to watch, or how's that going to work?
No, they stay right there.
Because you've got your own space, you can
That's
do
right.
whatever
They can
you
do
want.
whatever they want.
I did see about that on
Yes.
Facebook, and I thought that's a pretty good deal for a
It is.
Friday night to go up to Morristown, get some barbecue, and watch
It is.
Bright Star.
And that will be our opening night too. So
Nice.
and those.
Well, that'll be, in other words, this Friday because.
Oh my gosh, is it coming up this Friday?
Yes, Tim, I should tell you. You might want to check
now
the
I can
calendar.
panic.
This weekend and next weekend, it'll be a great opportunity. And what do we do to get tickets?
You can call right here.
Go ahead. You want to read it or should I?
You read it because I don't have my glasses on.
I'll do it in my radio voice.
And I don't. You do it in your radio voice.
You can call area code 423-318-8331. That's 423-318-8331. I'll put it on the screen because it's easier.
Or EncoreTheatrical.com.
You know what? They have another one. It says it's etcplays.org.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I'll look it up. So we'll put but Bright Star with you and Carol Von Vagel and Frank and Jack Rosamund.
And the list goes on and on and on. I can't name everyone in the cast.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can look that up online too if we want.
Yes.
But you're the one that's here.
But it's
so
an amazing cast. Everybody in this show is so incredibly talented. I mean,
Nice.
I have never worked with. Usually, there's like one or two good people, and then some mediocre people, and then some people that you
are
really don't want to
describing.
talk about.
He's describing the front page Follies because I was at best mediocre.
No, you
At
were
best.
You did fine.
I was able to rig it so that I was only in the numbers that I could, passively do. But you know how I sat out some of the numbers that were hard.
Yeah.
I know. I'm no fool.
Oh, okay. That's what you were doing. Okay, now I catch on.
I'm trying to put this up.
But this cast is so incredibly talented. There is not one single person in this show who is not amazing.
That's great.
And the harmonies, oh my gosh, the harmonies are, I get so caught up, while we're rehearsing, I get so caught up in watching everybody and listening to their voices and everything that when it's my turn for my line, I'm like, oh, that's my line. I hope that doesn't happen on show night.
I need some Post-it notes on the stage. Here,
No,
Tim,
I mean,
pay
I
attention
know
to
my
this.
parts. I'm just getting so involved in the story and watching it unfold is just amazing.
Well, I'm happy for you. This is good news.
Yes.
This is excellent. I'll talk to Jerry and see what we can do about what's coming. I'm hosting a beauty pageant on Saturday night, as I do once a year, the Carnes Fairest of the Fair. So that's my gig for Saturday. But I'll see if she wants to come to the dinner or just come to the matinee or how that works out best.
Yes. I'm always nervous about opening nights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you gotta break
it's
a leg,
just-
Tim. Break
I
a
know
leg.
every opening night I've ever done, and I've done thousands of opening nights. There's just something about you always got to have the butterflies in your stomach for opening night.
Yeah.
Always. If you
If you don't get nervous,
that kind of helps your performance.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I do get to the point sometimes in certain situations where I'm no longer nervous. In fact, I feel like I'm more calm especially once the show starts.
Exactly.
I mean, you've watched the podcast long enough to know that there was an old improv bit that Christian and I did at some rando. It was at I was in the Happy Holler, and we came on after some girl was doing an Ophelia monologue, and she's dumping water over her head, and the whole floor is soaked, and they're out there mopping. And coming up next, it's Some Antics. I'm like, and I was like tense because people are just bugging at us and talking to us. It's the full disclosure guys they're recruiting Christian to leave me and join them, which happened. So and just tension. I used to wear this Fitbit and it measures your heart rate. But so later I look on the app, on the Fitbit app, and I can see that my heart rate has gone considerably up until whatever it was, 9:08 p.m. or whatever time happens, which was when we walked out on stage. And at that point, my heart rate goes down to 60 beats a minute, or maybe even 58 beats a minute. And I'm just like, oh, now I'm doing improv. Now I'm fine. Now I'm calm. Now I'm cool.
Once you find your groove, you're right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was, so were you like that when you walk out on once you butterflies?
Only for opening night.
Till you start.
Once the show's open, it's like, nah, it's another show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's.
Do you get sad when it closes?
Absolutely, and especially like at Sweet Fanny, we would run it for the entire season. We would alternate shows. We would do 2 shows, one on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
So different script,
and then
different
do
characters.
another Christmas show. So we actually did 3 shows a year. But yeah, so we're constantly having to learn new stuff and new material. But yeah, and every time a show would end, it's like you get into a habit of like, okay, got to go to work tonight, got to go do a show. I've never ever lost I always want to make sure that the people that see our shows enjoy our show.
Yeah.
I want them to laugh. I want them to have a good time.
Yeah.
Because we're in this business for entertainment. Let me tell you a quick story.
Well, I also mentioned that Frady got depressed when the Copper Queen ended.
Yes,
I remember her
saying
that's a sad show.
Yes.
And she dies at the end.
Yeah.
But she misses it, misses that character once it's done. She's looking for another opera company to be able to produce it and do that show again because she loved it so much. So go ahead, quick story.
But when the show ends, there's like you said, there's this sadness to it. And I was going to tell you a story about a show closing. And
How do I take your memorization class? Where do I sign up for that? The show's closing, Tim.
The show's closing.
Because this show is closing, so you got to come up with it real quick.
When Bryce started, because we've put so much time and effort into this show already, and you can see that everybody has worked so hard on this, and watching everything come together, the costumes, the props, the sets, everything.
It's magical.
Yes,
that's the magic of theater.
You start out reading around a table, and then you go out to the where things are taped on the floor, and then you move over to the set, and then you start adding the. Do
they have big set pieces, or is it more like you have to use your imagination that this box can be a table, or it can be a chair, it can be a house?
In this show, it's if you're not a character, then you're part of the ensemble. And so you're always on stage.
Oh wow!
So you're part, and you watch the story unfold, and of course the ensemble's singing background for a lot of different numbers.
Good.
But you're always part of the story, and so it's real easy to watch what's going on and get really involved in the story.
It. Nice.
Yeah. And like I said, when this is over, we are all going to be so sad.
So sad.
Yeah.
Well, take them a hot tub party at Tim's house is what it sounds like I think has to happen.
Yeah. I think Frank has said something about
a pool,
a party at his.
Well, I did.
No, Frank.
Rosamond.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd mentioned that he might want to have it, and I hope I'm not.
Well, good. Well, I said
he just mentioned it.
See, because I thought you were talking about. I told Frady that we would have a pool party for all of the attractive co-hosts.
That's a good idea.
I said that all of my guest co-hosts, when Frady gets back to town, we could have a pool party with all of those lovelies, including you.
That would be fun. Yes.
Well, in the days and weeks ahead, I still have to find a few more guest co-hosts. Eric Dobell from Impossibilities.
Oh, Eric, yes.
He's going to come and do.
He has a new baby.
Yeah, I know. He's had to work out we've been texting back and forth, working out his child care, or he's been working out the child care so that he can come over here and shoot the show sometime in mid-July. So you'll see him before too long. I think I want to get Becca James back in because she's going to co-host the beauty pageant with me on Saturday night. So I thought it might be fun to wait until after the beauty pageant and then have, because she's terrified, because I told her it's a tough gig. It's as an MC, it's one of the more challenging gigs because and when you're an MC, your whole job is to smooth over the rough spots.
Exactly. Bring everything together.
And when you have a beauty pageant with contestants ranging in age from 4 to 80, there will be rough spots. So that's why I'm there. I said it's kind of like great practice as an MC. You got to you build up your MC muscles because you're going to use them all when you're doing a beauty pageant.
When creative theater, which is no longer, creative theater.
That was in Pigeon
Forge. But when they were just getting
it.
started, they had this fundraiser, and they contacted me and said, "Would you be our MC?"
Sure, good call.
And they wanted me to be the MC as Jiminy Cricket.
Unusual.
Yeah, and there was no rehearsal, no nothing. I would just, like you said, thrown out there and smooth it over, introduce the next act.
How it happens.
And I would have these little cards, and I would, this next act is so and so and so, and just kind of, and then I had this. I like to make people laugh, so I would interject some of these really corny jokes in between,
Yeah.
And I would come on and I would, say, just what I just found out backstage. I just found out that,
Yeah.
And Mary Poppins, they had just announced that the return of Mary Poppins, or Mary Poppins Returns, was going to be released.
On a movie,
on stage, and I was like, I've got the best news, Mary. And the whole thing was Disney, by the way.
Oh, it makes sense. You're Jiminy Cricket.
So I come out now, Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, hey, now I get it. That's why I was Jiminy Cricket. But like you were saying, tying everything, all the loose ends, it's up to you to do that. And I was a nervous wreck. Because I'm thinking, am I saying the right thing? Am I introducing these people correctly? Am I pronouncing their names right?
Fine.
Yeah, and well, it worked.
It's a mental state, and I've told this story at some point where if you're, there's another radio guy who describes an emceeing an event that goes badly as going off the rails, which is a train derailment, which is a horrible tragedy. And I thought, what if I don't take the train? What if I can cross the river on a jet ski and I can zip back and forth and I can have fun. I can ride some waves and as long as I get all the points, as long as I tap all the buoys between here and there, the order doesn't really matter. I just got to get the audience safely across the river. I can do that without anybody getting hurt by a train derailment. So it's a mental state. If you're thinking it's got to be like this, you're going to fail. But if you're thinking it's like, let's get it done, let's do this, let's do that, here we go, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, yep.
So that's the improv, I guess, in me. Yeah. All right. Bright Star.
Let's wrap it up. There's a train in Bright Star.
Oh, thank goodness.
How's that for a segue? Segue back into Bright Star. There's a train.
All right, so I understand this. It's kind of like Murder on the Orient Express is what you're saying.
Okay. That's better. Much better. There's a train. There's a train. There are some people. And these people, there's a conflict. There's a resolution.
And whatever you think it's about, you're wrong.
You're wrong, right.
When you go...
And I don't want to give anything away.
Whatever you think is happening, there's a massive plot twist.
And there's an underlying, yes.
Okay.
Who did it? I've written several murder mysteries. I worked for the Murder Mystery Dinner Theater in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, they're
I wrote like 13 of their shows.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, so go see Tim in the mysterious plot of Bright Star. We know that he plays
secretive.
Murphy.
I just want everyone to enjoy this because if you don't know anything about it, some people are familiar with the storyline. They know what happens.
Okay.
But if you don't know, it is just one of the... I've talked my sister to come in to see this. My sister will cry at the drop of a hat. She cries at car commercials.
When they put the big red ribbon on Christmas time.
She just touched by, and she's very emotional. And I said, you've got to come and see this show. She goes, am I going to cry? And I hope so.
Oh,
so you've got to come and see this. It's going to be...
It's a tearjerker, is it?
But it's happy. I don't want you to think it's a depressing show. No. But it's a show about life.
See,
Well, I can tell you, it starts out in it goes back and forth between the 20s and the 40s.
Okay.
Based on a true story.
All right. I have to learn more because I'm a Steve Martin fan. I went to see him when I was in high school. He was on the Wild and Crazy Guy tour.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat in the last row against the wall on the upper deck, that highest seat in the house, furthest away from the stage, at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, because I had to see that little white speck down on the stage, knowing that I was watching Steve Martin live, not instead on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a fan since...
Are you like me? Do you get starstruck when you meet people like that?
I imagine so. Because I've been a fan of Steve Martin. He's one of the reasons I got interested in comedy. I would memorize his record albums.
Yes.
And I would say...
Saturday Night Live with some of the bits he did.
Oh, the Wild and Crazy Guy stuff. I would memorize... I memorized that, and we did a skit at my college ripping that off.
Yes.
And I was the Steve Martin character. Yeah,
Because we are the Wild and the Crazy Guys.
Yes, the Festrunk brothers. I would say of all of the celebrities, I would probably... be more starstruck meeting someone like a Steve Martin because of that history. Mm-hmm. If you meet somebody, there's another level of celebrity where someone is, you can meet someone and feel like, okay, I'm a little more equal footing, or at least I can just see their humanity of it. Like when I meet big comedians, I like to just talk to them as people, which they prefer. They don't want you to be starstruck. Steve Martin doesn't want you to go, hey, King Tut, have your autograph. How do you be a millionaire with never pay taxes? First get $1 million. I can do it, Steve. No, so he wouldn't want that. They want you to treat them like people.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you remember Hee Haw, the TV show Hee Haw?
I didn't watch it, but I certainly was aware of it.
Lulu Romans?
I mean, I did say I never watched it, but I'm aware of it.
Okay,
so
all right.
Probably
Well,
would see
Lulu
that.
was one of the main characters, and she was very popular on the show.
Yeah.
And she came to Gatlinburg. She does gospel tours.
Okay.
But she came to Gatlinburg, and she was staying in a motel downtown Gatlinburg. And her manager came and saw Sweet Fanny Adams, and he says,
Fantastic.
I would like to bring Lulu to see this.
Yeah, of course you should.
But she's getting, people recognize her, and she doesn't want people to just fawn over her and make a fuss like we talked about. She just wants to be treated as,
Yeah.
So he says, if I bring her, will you not
Acknowledge.
Yeah, say, hey, look it's Lulu from Hee-Haw. So, but sure, we won't do that. And and she is an amazing human being. She came and she said, one of the stories that she was telling us was at 3 o'clock in the morning, people knock on her door saying, can I have an autograph? And she says, I'm trying to
At
get
the
some
motel.
sleep. Yeah.
At the hotel.
And I said, well, I live right up the hill from that motel, and I've got a big house up there, and this is when I lived in Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
And I said, you're welcome to stay in one of my bedrooms up there. And she said, and I said, it's private. I don't have any neighbors around me. Everybody, you can see everybody coming from, down the hill for a mile away. And I said, so you're welcome. And she says, I'm going to take you up on that. And I said, okay. So the next night she packed up her stuff, came up to my house. And my mom and dad were such fans of this show.
But you couldn't tell them.
Of Lulu, yeah. And so I didn't want to say anything. So the next day, and she says, I want you to know that I am an early riser.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking at pictures of her. I mean, she looks different,
Yes.
way different now than she did on Hee-Haw. She looks like
she's
a
lost.
female.
She says she's lost 160 pounds. She's lost an entire Backstreet Boy. That's the way she puts it.
So she was like Junior
But
Samples. She was a big
amazing.
girl. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and
All
she
right.
is one of the funniest people you ever meet. She got a lot of good stories.
And now she's okay. Very
But
pretty.
anyway, she says, I sleep late, and or I get up early,
Early riser.
and the next morning we get up and it's 11 o'clock. She's not up. My first thought was, she's died in my bed. Oh, no. What
that
am I
would
gonna-
make the news.
Was it really?
Your parents would be so pissed that you killed Lulu Roman.
Exactly. So I went and I knocked on the door and I says, Lulu, are you
Alive?
awake? She goes, oh yeah. She goes, oh my gosh, it's 11 o'clock. I never sleep this late. And I said, what's the mountain air?
Yeah.
So she goes, well, I want to do something for you for you letting me stay in your house and relaxing and getting a good night's sleep. I want to take you out to dinner.
Nice.
And I said, okay. And of course, what restaurants do you take Lulu to? And of course,
the Peddler?
people are going to recognize her.
Oh.
And so
I
she
see what you
says,
mean.
she says,
Let me ask you a question though. So she's recognizable all the time because
Yes.
they say that Dolly Parton can take off her wig and her makeup and walk through Dollywood and no one would know it was her.
that's not true. I saw her working on her yard wearing a hat, and I recognized her.
Okay.
She lives in my neighborhood, by the way.
Dolly?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
I
Forget
thought
that.
she lived in Nashville most of the time.
She does, but she has.
A house, obviously, in Sevierville, yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw her?
I saw her working on the yard.
Sweet.
And
Alright.
she's
And
really
you-
petite. She's
Yeah, that's what I thought. She's so tiny.
She was pulling weeds, I think. I don't know.
Well, it's hard work.
I just drove by and I
slab.
went, I think that was Dolly. Yeah.
Okay, I believe you.
In my mind, it was Dolly.
All right, fine. But anyway, so
anyway,
Lulu,
get back to
Lulu
Lulu.
was going to take
So,
you out to dinner
yeah.
in Gatlinburg where everybody knows she's there.
And my mom calls and she says, "What are you doing for dinner tonight?" And I was like,
Coming over to your house with Lulu Roman.
Well, and like I said, they're big fans of hers. And I says, "Well,
Did I guess
I've
right?
got plans. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye." And I hung up. And she says, "What was that?" I said, "Well, my mom and dad, they wanted me to go out to dinner." She goes, "Well, just bring them along." And I said, "Let me tell you something. They are two of your biggest fans." And she goes, "Well, let's go get them." So we got in our car, went over to their house. They don't know we're coming. Open the door. Lulu walks in behind me and makes, this grand gesture when she's coming in. She goes, "Let's go to dinner." And my dad's jaw dropped.
Oh my God.
And my mom was just staring and they weren't saying anything. And finally my dad musters up enough nerve to say, "Well, Lulu, why didn't you bring Junior with you?" Junior's another member of the
Junior
cast.
Samples.
Yeah. And she says, "Well, I would have, but he's been dead for 4 years." And we went out to dinner, and my mom and dad through the whole dinner were, my mom was eating, just like staring at Lulu. But it was just such an amazing experience.
Where did you go to eat?
Huck Finn's in Pigeon Forge. She wanted catfish, and that's
Okay.
one of the.
Is it still there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And it wasn't a big problem. You just had your dinner. And
Yeah. Well, the manager, who was like 19 years old, had no idea who she was. But he comes over to our table and he goes, "Excuse me, but those people over there wanted me to come and ask you if you are Lulu." And she says, "Yes, I am." He says, "Well, I don't know who you are, but they seem to know who you are.
They're impressed.
Yeah. And then they said, would you mind if she came over and asked for an autograph? She goes, no, I'll bring him on over. But she
was, because she's in that state. She's in the
we were sitting
prepared.
having dinner,
That's
and
nice.
and she signed it. She's a wonderful person.
That's fun. Fun. I'm glad to hear that.
But that's my
I like the way your
story.
parents were so surprised. That's fantastic.
Great.
Well done. Well, this episode turned out to be twice as long.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we
as a regular? Yeah. So I'm trying to decide if I just
have to edit it.
Well, no. I'm thinking I can either just put it out as it's a holiday week. We had 4th of July on Monday, and if I but your show is opening on Friday, so I'm thinking I might just drop this as one episode this week because it's as long as 2.
Yeah.
Or I could go through the trouble of cutting it in half and posting it twice. But then all of the Bright Star stuff would be in part 2, and I need to get so we want the Bright Star stuff to be out there. So
Bright Star.
So I think my gut says just do one episode this week, but you've got a special bonus twice as long talking about Tim Coleman playing Daddy Murphy in Bright Star with our friend Cara Von Vagel as Mama Murphy, and Frank and Jack Rosamund and the others. Those are the people I know. Becky Collins. Do you know who Becky Collins is?
Yes.
I love Becky Collins. She was is maybe still a cantor at the church where my wife and I would go, and
we have to move a piece of scenery together.
Well, tell Becky Collins that I said hello.
I will,
because I think she's got a lovely voice. Number one, I loved hearing her sing at church, and number two, then I would see her in the opera chorus. She's a chorister with Knoxville Opera, and would always get like a featured bit, they would move her up for Aida. They would say, "Oh, you're going to be here attending to the Queen because you're not just in the masses. We're going to put you up here, give you a little extra business."
You just verified what I said about everybody,
Yeah.
And another thing, Kara and I both drive a long distance to be
from Pigeon Forge or Sevierville to Morristown?
I usually drive to where she works, meet her, and then we will carpool it. She'll drive one day, I'll drive another day.
Makes sense.
And but I'm thinking, I hope they appreciate the fact that we drive this far. We don't drive as far as some of the other people in this cast. I mean, people love this show so much. They have come Frank and Jack come all the way from Knoxville here.
Yeah,
they've got a long drive.
I think Becky lives near here in West Knoxville also.
Exactly, and everybody has this long drive.
Yeah.
They're committed to this show. This is,
Well, that's
going to be a good one.
That I realize I literally know 4 people in the cast between you and Kara and Becky and Frank.
You probably know more than that. Emma, do you know Emma?
Yes.
She was in...
yes.
She did Encores.
I know who you're talking about. Emma. Surely there's more than one Emma in the cast.
No, there's only one Emma.
I'll have to look it up.
She's our lead. She is amazing.
Oh, good.
She's such a great talent. And I saw her in Anything Goes, and I was really impressed with her then. And then when I found out she's going to be in this show, I was like, I get to work with this girl. So
that's fantastic.
She's very talented.
Well, do you have they have the cast on the website, I'm imagining?
Yes.
No, is it Emma Wright? No, we don't know. No, not Emma Wright. Emma Wrong. I was Emma wrong about her name.
I have everybody's name written on my phone, and I am technically challenged, so give me a minute to find
I didn't even realize, I thought you had a flip phone, because when I texted you about being here, I would get back these one-word answers. Yes.
I turn my phone off all the time, because when I don't like to be disturbed during rehearsals.
But I'm saying I get, when usually someone who's got I've got a friend who's got a flip phone, and still has to do push the button, 3 times to get the letter you want.
Yeah.
So I thought that you might have that because you'd write back one-word answers like, yes, sounds good, excellent.
That's the way I do it, yeah.
All right.
I found the cast list.
Okay.
Emma Andrews.
Emma Andrews plays the lead.
Bo Choate. Cassandra Hazard. Jack Rosamond. Olivia Smith. Frank Rosamond. Hannah Nye. Andrew Alder. Andrew, by the way, is very active in Encore, and he's the one who gave me all the information.
Good.
I quizzed him last night. Becky Collins, Danny Hacker, Cara Van Vagel,
nice.
Tim Coleman, Candace Moore,
lovely,
Jackson Collins, Kayla Fielder, Brandon Meek, Dylan Filer, and Reagan Faircloth. That is our cast, and like I said, every one of those people are extremely talented.
Good. Well, I'm excited for you, Tim. Break a leg. Break all the legs.
Break all the legs.
And thanks for being here on our Frank and Friends show. We appreciate you. All right. Take that, Frady.
Yeah, Frady. I'm here.
We do appreciate you watching, liking, sharing, subscribing to the show, and smashing that button for notifications. If you'd like to get some other great audio entertainment, you can use our code at audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow. Just thousands of audiobooks, new custom entertainment coming out all the time. You can listen to it on a variety of devices, and with your free trial of a premium membership for 30 days, you get an MP3 download that you get to keep forever. That's normal for premium members. You get a credit every month for an MP3 download that you keep forever, and that includes during the free trial period. And by signing up at audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow, you are helping support the Frank and Friends show and replace the batteries that we are likely to have burned out on these microphones and other things. You can also support the show with the merchandise, including the super soft beach towel, which I highly recommend for summer, or the mugs, or the other drinkware, the pint glasses, the hats, the bucket hat, the t-shirts and whatnot. But mainly, I alluded to it a moment ago, we need you to subscribe on YouTube. We got to go to 1,000 plus YouTube subscribers before they'll even consider giving us a penny from the YouTubes. And they've got the money, they can afford it. I just need to get to the 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate if you would help us do that, spread the word, and subscribe on YouTube. And thanks so much. Tim, you're a star. You're a bright star. You're a bright shining star.
Good segue. Good segue.
You're a shining bright star.
Shining bright star.
And
I didn't mention our director either, Dennis Hawkins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I didn't mention him.
I get
and
the
Laura
emails.
Ritter,
from Dennis at Encore all the time.
Yes.
Good.
So got to shout out to them.
Everybody. All right. Well, good. I'm glad you're here. Thanks a lot for watching this special extended episode. We'll just drop the one this week, and that'll be that. And we'll be back next week with more guest hosts, and we'll try to figure out what's going on. Okay. It is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Tim Coleman.
Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again next time.